Okay, now we've done some soil testing. Now what we want to do is get into fertilization. All right, we want to add the nutrients to the soil so that the plant can eat. All right, we don't want to overdo it.
So we need to wait till the soil results come back before we can start this next process?
That is the best way if we're going to go to that route. If you're just having us check for the pH in there, in your soil, we can do a simple pH test here, no charge, and then we can move on to the fertilization. But yeah, if we're going to go the extent of thorough testing, then yeah, we're going to want that to come back. It doesn't take long. We send them out the beginning of the week, and we have them by, if we get them in by Tuesday, we're getting them back by Thursday or Friday online. Okay. Those tests, by the way, they come back to us, and we read them.
Oh,
all right, so this way it's not so confusing for you. Now, in the fertilizing end of it, what we may be, I didn't ask you at all, but have weeds been a problem in your turf?
Oh, yes.
Okay. What we got to do is we got to determine at this point, fall, if we can grow grass seed almost any time as long as we've got warmth, soil contact, and moisture. All right. Okay, Ruth, so what we'll do, let's step right over here and we'll talk about some weed killer that we might want to use, and then if not, then we go into plain fertilizers. Okay, so let's step right over here. Okay, so what we've got here, if we're going to take care of some weeds, the middle of August to no later than beginning of September, or middle of September, even then it's getting a little late, but we can put down a broadleaf weed control and fertilizer for our first application. What that'll do is it'll kill off some of our broadleaf weeds that are there to open up the areas more for our seeding. The problem that you've got, if we do a weed killer, we have to wait a minimum of 6 weeks before we can start seeding. So timing-wise, it starts getting a little bit late to start germinating seed. That'll put us, if we wait till the middle of September, that'll put us somewhere around the end of October before we're able to get back on the lawn and seed it. Might be a little late. Right.
Especially, I'm concerned because we haven't had any moisture. Is it okay still to put down a broad weed control without the moisture?
That's a great question. Weeds will thrive. As long as the weed is thriving, a weed killer will work. But you're right, we're getting to a point that it's dry enough that the weeds are going to slow down. And if they slow down, they won't absorb the chemical, therefore it isn't as effective. So it's probably not the best choice for someone. I think right now the best choice would be to let's go after a fertilization, get the nutrients in the soil, let's go after the seeding, let's get the pH correct, and we'll worry about the weeds come the springtime.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to pass by this product right now, but what we're going to do is we want to do a 2-step type program for the fall application. The reason being is we can't possibly put down all the nutrients we need in one application because it's too much. It's like us Thanksgiving dinner. We stuff ourselves with turkey, but it still only lasts a day. Okay? It doesn't give us a whole week. Same thing happens with fertilizer. So what we want to do here, though, our first application of fertilizer for your lawn, we want to understand that in fertilizer, it's always going to be 3 numbers, 30 or 6 or whatever direction, but it's always nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. All right? NPK, they call it. Now, what we're going to do for your turf is we know nitrogen is a nutrient that leaves very quickly from the soil. So we're going to want to give you a boost of nitrogen to begin with. All right, now, because this is a 30, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a huge amount of nitrogen. It's 30% of 50 pounds being over 15,000 square foot. So you're getting approximately about a pound per 1,000. That's what our test is going to tell us. It's going to talk about how many pounds per 1,000. And then we tell the bag the application rate. All right? Right now, that's what's going on there. This is going to be our first application.
we would just set our spreader accordingly.
Exactly. What we're going to do is the spreader setting normally for this bag, it'll be listed on the back for most spreaders, but if it's not, the rule of thumb is about a quarter of an opening of your slots will give you about 1 pound per 1,000.
Okay.
All right, with this type of a grainer. Our next step in fertilization we're going to want to do is now, at about 6 weeks later, because this will give you 6 weeks of control, 30% slow release in here.
Okay.
Gives us a long length. Then what we're going to do is in around the middle of October, we're going to change up the ratio. We're going to lower the nitrogen, raise the phosphorus. The phosphorus is for root establishment. That'll help our new seed that's just coming into play. That'll help our existing turf that did come back to establish good, strong roots again. Good seed, your good bluegrasses, fescues, put out rhizomes. They keep thickening themselves up. So it's not like we have to add seed all the time, but if we keep them happy, they keep thickening themselves.
Now, the only question I have about all this is the moisture.
Well, here's the thing. We can't call that perfect. That's in nature's hand. We know this, that if we apply this product and put it down, we're going to get some moisture from dew and everything. That'll be a slow release. It'll release some of it. But at least everything's there ready to go for when we do get some moisture back in the soil. One downpour, if we ended up with a torrential rain, might have some wash off that we didn't want, but the thing is we can get going. Or we can have the products in the garage ready to go when the moisture does come back into the soil.
So should we watch the weather before we apply this?
It's simple, really. The neat thing about it, when it comes to just plain fertilizer, rain, weather doesn't really matter. Just get it down.
Okay.
All right. So I think that's the most important thing. Take whatever comes. As far as if it is a torrential downpour, just realize you may not get the full benefit. It's okay. At least it's down.
But I should start with the first product as soon as possible?
Yep. Get that going. Yep.
Okay.
Get that going. All right. Okay, let's move on. Now we're to grass seed. So let's go on to that end of it. This is really, we'll take the last step to developing a new turf. What I also want to say is that this process and where we're at is not a 3-month fix and you got a beautiful turf. It's not even a 6-month fix and have a beautiful turf. It's taking your turf and over a course of now a year to 2, depending on how bad it is, we can get it back in shape so that it's good and full and thick. All right?
Sounds good.
Let's move over to the grass seed.